Hello. Nope, wrong one. Hello. I don't. They're not muted. Audio input. I wonder if it changed it. Properties.
Are you hearing that? Is someone coughing?
Coughing? Why would someone be coughing? Clapping! Yeah.
I heard that. That was unexpected. Okay.
The fact that you just looked to your right and it looked like you looked at me was kind of funny to me. Like, are you making this noise?
I just have my two monitors here. After every time Josh talks, I hear like someone wheezing horrifically.
Yeah, I hear it too.
You hear it too?
Yeah, I thought it was you playing something. Where's it Andrew?
That's me making a noise while he talks on purpose.
Was that you?
Yeah. I'm
You're
just like
blowing my
letting out a
mind.
tiny little screech every time Josh talks. It's like, I wonder if he'll pick up on it. You're a quick wit.
Hi, welcome back to Insert Podcast Name. I'm your host, Josh.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Josh. We're discussing a couple topics today. This is our episode 0. A couple of things we're going to talk about is what we want to name this. We're going to go over our rules and decide what game we're going to start playing. So yeah. I've got 4 things written down we can start talking about.
Yeah, we'll kind of have some talking points for our little starting off episode 0 here. Not really, it's going to be probably shorter than usual. We're just going to kind of, like I said, go over what the podcast is going to be. Kind of in a way, this episode will serve as an ending of our mission statement of our podcast. And we'll just essentially all talk together as homies here and figure out the nitty gritty of it. We just thought it'd be fun to record like a short little beginning episode for the series.
Well, it may go longer than we think because we obviously got a lot to talk about.
True.
But at the same time, we can, talk about our backgrounds, where we come from, and how we met each other, and then get into the details that we need to. The goal for this podcast is the 3 of us are going to sit down and we're going to play a video game. We're going to play the video game. We're going to see if we like it. And then we're going to come back here at the end of the week and we're going to discuss about the video game, what we like, what we don't like, how the story's evolving, what we expect out of it, multiplayer games, the aspects we're getting out of it, if it's a good developed game, the mechanics behind the game. But at the same time that we're going to discuss video games and stuff that we're excited, like we're really going to dive into the video game world in this podcast. Mm-hmm. We're going to review games. We're going to have play games every couple weeks. We're going to do a live play together, reactions and stuff like that. But also, it's not just strictly about gaming. I mean, the 3 of us are best friends. It's going to be about our lives and how everything's going and how our week was and, things like that. So, at the end of the day, that's what the general aspect of the podcast is. It's not straight gaming and it's not just straight talk. It's going to be very action-packed, lots of conversation about gaming and our lives. Every one of us has a hidden character, except for me, above their heads. Andrew's got Yoshi.
Get with it.
Nathan, there he is.
Wah!
So, while we were practicing for the intro, a really cool this podcast name I think we should do is insert name here or insert podcast here. So that's kind of a take.
Not against it. I wouldn't be surprised if a podcast already exists by that name, even if it's semi-popular. Yeah. I probably wouldn't want to stick with that.
How about yourself, Nathan? Did you come up with any ideas for a podcast name?
I can come up with one on the fly.
Let's hear it. What you got?
3 dudes and a mushroom.
3 dudes and a mushroom. Not shabby.
So the point of this podcast, the 3 dudes and the mushroom podcast, essentially, we are all going on our separate journeys together in life, all being in different places, and essentially, the mushroom is our purpose in life that we find later. We don't know what the mushroom is yet. That mushroom is what we're going for. Dog, I got nothing. Well, I want to hear your idea.
We have a bunch of Mario stuff behind you, so the mushroom could be our 3 dudes and our power up.
There you go. All right, so Andrew had a good idea, and I think he.
Yeah, so I came up with two. Obviously, the first one, as you guys know, the one I came up with is My Mom Has Tourette's. I really just picked that out of the blue. Josh and I were kind of brainstorming, and we have a group chat called Josh's Mom, which had nothing to do with Josh's mom. And Nathan had mentioned that it's a clickbaity title, and I like that idea. The other one that I'd come up with was our podcast being called Separation Anxiety. And the reason I came up with that is just because that's essentially the core of how this started. It sounded like to me that when I spoke with the both of you, you both kind of wanted to do a podcast. I was either way. I'm cool with it. If I'm not, whatever. But I thought Separation Anxiety was a good name because that's the reason we want to do this podcast is we just want to be three dudes just kind of chilling, catching up on a pastime that we all enjoy. And we're all at different points in our lives, and we're all at different points locationally that it's difficult to do. So this is an easy way to both keep up with how everyone's doing, and all of us have the chance to talk about something we like. So that was
I
it.
like that. I like that a lot, actually. I've not heard that one yet. I will say really though, like for the first I'll let you go once. I have to say this: one of our mothers does have Tourette's. Who's
indeed?
I don't know.
Indeed.
I don't know.
But I really like the idea of Separation Anxiety.
Yeah, I like that name.
But there is a podcast called Be Right Back Separation Anxiety Podcast.
Hold on.
Well, I think that's the content of their podcast too.
No, it's.
Oh well, that sucks. They're terrible people.
Be Right Back, the Separation Anxiety Podcast, with 29 ratings. High. It's the Kids and Family Podcast.
Oh, it's it has 29 positive ratings. Well, it's about to have one negative because they took my idea. Let me go.
It's also
there real quick.
As of June 2nd, there's a new episode, so this is currently going. I love the name.
It's gonna be. Oh man, it's gonna be a current downfall for them. They're gonna get forced out. I don't care.
There is actually a second podcast called Separation Anxiety.
Why?
It's like a totally different one. That's hilarious. I like the. Okay, wait. Listen though. There is not only one way to convey the same meaning though of separation.
This is true.
I bet we could come up with something because I like that. I really do like the idea of like something funny and clickbaity, but we don't have to do that. I like that idea a lot. So if we can come up with a good set of words to properly portray that emotion, that feeling, that thing that we all feel, well, maybe not everyone, some people are psychopaths, but I don't know, man. That's I like the thought. So
the aware parenting. We don't want parenting podcasts. You guys are bums. Man, yeah, now I'm getting frustrated. Oh, and it's on Apple. You mainstream plebs. 50 minutes about obedience for dog training. Who needs that garbage?
Well, I was going to say we could do estrangement, but that is the fact of no longer being on friendly terms. So
that's us, yeah. We all hate each other, and that's why we're doing this.
We could call ourselves the Estrangers.
The Estrangers.
The Estrangers.
The Estrangers podcast. I like that.
The Estrangers podcast does not exist.
Let's go.
However,
it's also a made-up word, so.
The Estrangers are a band.
What? That settles it, right?
Hold on.
We have to figure out
yeah.
how we can call ourselves the Estrangers by having them create some of our music. Let's go.
Perfect.
We're gonna be like, guys, we're using you as background music for our podcast and our intro song. We need like a 5-second clip, and they're gonna be like, bro, anything for some fame because you guys are pretty dope.
What about
the
Distorted Estrangers podcast?
The Distorted Estrangers.
Looks like the Estrangers are a loud and fast Midwestern duo playing music inspired by surf, country, blues, and rock and roll while still waving our punk rock flag high.
Nice. We could always call ourselves the X-Men because it's 2023, and it could be like EX-Men, like that series that we had, It's 2023. We should be inclusive, so which one of us is the X-Men? We don't know.
The X-Man with Doc Coyle on Apple Podcasts.
No!
The X-Man podcast.
See, what
This
we
is
do is
hard.
we just get famous, and then we just claim copyright for the name, and
Well,
we
I mean,
tell them that they were
strangers.
posers.
If we do an Strangers podcast, I mean, it's not related to the band, so it's different.
Yeah, but if that band ever wanted to make the Strangers podcast, there might be some problems.
True. Let me check one thing.
Hold on.
Antagonizing and strangers.
I like the idea of taking the literal words separation, anxiety, and just using a synonym for both of them.
Okay.
So,
cool with that.
separation. One is disengagement or estrangement, like you said.
That's what I did.
Estrangement, and then what's another anxiety synonyms? We can take a look. I have both thesaurus pages open up here.
All I'm saying is they say go with your gut, and I have not seen a podcast called My Mom Has Tourette's.
My gut is telling me perturbation.
What?
What?
The estrangement, perturbation.
Oh, like you're perturbed.
Oh, I was like, perturbations. That's not a word, but yeah, perturbed.
Oh, one
Makes
word.
sense.
Oh, we can be like, you know how, okay. One synonym, less used compared to some, for separation is dialysis. Just saying. We just get a bunch of grandmas on the podcast.
Yeah, boy.
The Perturbed Dialysis podcast.
So this is silly that we're just looking up synonyms for something because we can't use the original. But okay. So I do say, I don't know. I think we look a little more into this. But if something doesn't like jump out,
what about Grandma's?
We have a fallback. Grandma's Angry podcast.
My grandma has Tourette's.
There you go.
My grandma has Tourette's.
My grandma forgets. That's a good podcast name.
Oh no. Might as well just call it the Dementia Podcast.
Yeah.
Why are we here?
Ooh, we could use segregation. Maybe not.
The fact, maybe not. The fact that the word collywobbles is a synonym for anxiety, I feel is very underused and underutilized. That's a great
collywobbles
one.
is incredible.
The disjunction collywobbles.
Oh man.
I'm writing that down.
Oh man.
A gaggle of collywobbles.
I'm actually not seeing collywobbles on mine for some reason, but that's amazing.
That is funny.
Which one did you click on? Let me see. Let's go to this one instead. Where's collywobbles? Come on.
I don't know. We might have to go with My Mom Has Tourette's.
I'm really not against it.
I like My Mom Has Tourette's. I was going to say insert name here, but it's already taken.
Separation anxiety or segregation society. Just kidding. Or estrangement or the estrangement jitters.
Yeah.
The estrangement collywobbles. That's
the estrangement shakes.
A collywobbles. Stomach pain or queasiness.
Is that what collywobbles is?
Yeah.
That's great.
Or intense anxiety or nervousness, especially with the Collywobbles podcast. I'm just saying.
Yeah. If someone has that, I will hurt myself. Live on stream for everyone.
Collywobbles on Apple Podcasts.
Are you kidding right now?
Episode 35 from 2018, 5 years ago. That's the last episode they did.
Wow.
Looks like it was a movie podcast? No.
Oh, the collywobbles. I'm showing a comedy podcast, and the funny thing is they don't make content anymore.
Oh. Yeah, you're talking about the one that has a skull and a triangle?
Yeah.
The Collywobbles podcast takes you on a scary ride through first-person accounts of myths, mystery, and monsters. Just because we're laughing doesn't mean we're scared. Not scared.
We're not scared.
Shut up.
Collywobbles, bro.
I think it's doable. I think. Listen. I think if you have, it's here. You just disappear. I think your lighting is like low. Josh, back up. Just like go like that. You took that drink. you take a drink and you completely disappear. It didn't happen that time as well. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. It looks like there's only one Collywobbles. It's that one, and they haven't made an episode for almost 5 years. I'm just saying that's public domain now. Who's going back to that? I don't know. I mean, I like the idea. I just like the idea of the Collywobbles podcast because the word is amazing.
Gamer's gonna game.
No. I honestly don't want the word gamer in our podcast.
The geeks podcast in the morning.
Joanna, the Severance Collywobbles.
Yeah.
Jumping off the hype of the show, Severance is incredible. The Severance,
facetious Collywobbles. I like it.
The Severance disquietude. I don't even know, man. We could do this all night, but we gotta come up with
gotta move on at some point.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I don't know.
In the end, I don't listen. People go out there and name their podcast like the Grandma's Virginity podcast. So all I'm saying is you don't really. I mean, to be fair, I feel like our channel can easily be very. It's not a comedy podcast, but in a way, it would almost be like a comedy gaming podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Our main focus is not. I can't imagine it'd be main focus comedy, but we're just gonna have a good time, enjoy it, laugh a lot, and I think that counts for comedy.
So we could just do My Mom Has Tourette's gaming podcast,
or just My Mom Has Tourette's, or the Mother's Tourette's podcast. I'm just thinking, once you make it, once you put that label, can you really go back?
No.
That's a good point.
It's like a tattoo.
Well, we could get laser podcast removal.
That's true.
At that point, that's just delete.
Delete.
The conscientious Collywobbles.
The double C. I like alliteration.
The exuberant Collywobbles.
Yeah, I love me some alliteration.
The good thing about My Mom Has Tourette's is you could just call it for short.
The cromulent Collywobbles.
The cromulent. I like that. Cromulent Collywobbles.
That's a mouthful.
And if you alliterate that, that'd be the.
The crepuscular Collywobbles.
Crepuscular.
Meaning active at dawn or dusk, like crepuscular animals. And
the crepuscular crustaceans.
The crispy Collywobble.
Crispy. Then our intro video could just be somebody frying something for 5 seconds.
And the camera turns down and it's just like our logo.
Yeah. Fun fact you may not have known, in movies, do you know what sound that they use for the sound of rain? They actually use bacon in a frying pan.
Yeah, okay.
And now every time I hear rain in a movie, I get hungry. True story.
That has undesired side effects.
It does.
You learning that fact has Pavloved you, and that's beautiful.
Indeed.
I Pavlov my cats. It's great.
So you don't want gaming in the name at all, Nathan?
I don't think it's necessary. It's not just a gaming podcast. It has a focus on that because it's kind of like what we're gathering around to do. But half of the podcast is going to be like us hanging out, talking, whatever.
Yeah.
So what's another word we could use for everyday life and another word for friends? And put those two together.
Man, separation anxiety is so good, though. Why is that an active podcast?
Right, they're dumb.
Looks like it's about a dog. It's literally a picture of a woman with a dog.
The apparitions anxiety.
Good old spoonerisms. I love it.
I'm glad you know these words. Spoonerisms are beautiful.
They are.
Yeah, with spoonerisms, Sarah Palin's parasailing, so.
This is true.
The apparitions anxiety. Lost in time? Where are we going?
Nowhere. That's why we're lost.
We're just trying to go home.
We could still use separation anxiety if you like it. We could do something unique with the name though, like you could have SEP, and then you could put parentheses around like the A and turn it into an 8, and then it'd be like separation, and then anxiety. You could make it like jittery looking or something. I don't know. That would technically be different because when we register our name, it would be SEP open parenthesis 8 and parenthesis shin anxiety.
Well,
It's a way around it.
H.
Yeah.
I like that. Man, I don't know. That's my problem is I'm an indecisive person. I don't know if I can be the one to make the final call on this. So we got to do this together.
So
because
the one on Apple is Be Right Back, the separation anxiety. The other one is Separation Anxiety, the Aware Parenting Podcast.
Is it currently
None
active?
of them are. There's 18 episodes.
I'm really not out here to like jump on someone's jive, but at the same time, if they're not making stuff anymore under the name. And also, I don't know.
May 30th, 2023.
Oh, that's last month.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's under, it says the Aware Parenting Podcast.
Yeah, I think he's saying their full name.
Episode 18. Oh, that was just the name of the episode for the Aware Parenting
Separation
Podcast.
Anxiety, the Aware, and then Be Right Back, the Separation Anxiety Podcast. So I don't think Separation Anxiety is taken.
Well, let's do a play on it then. I mean, we can just do separation anxiety, but let me see. Let me see the word. The reparation anxiety. No. Let's see here. I just want to look at the word and see if we can like do something. I like what you said about the 8 and everything. I mean, we don't. If we just went separation anxiety as like the name of the podcast, and then you. Do you have to like? Do you have to call it the something something podcast, or can you just call the podcast Separation Anxiety?
Well,
welcome back to Separation Anxiety. You don't have to add podcast in it.
Hers
I
is
agree.
Be Right Back.
Yeah, it's like a tagline rather than the. It's like the Be Right Back about separation anxiety or something. I don't know. Or do we want My Mom Has Tourette's?
Or the deleted memory card.
Oh, deleted save file.
The deleted save file, like, hey, our brains.
True.
So we're between separation anxiety, these strangers, the deleted save file, and My Mom Has Tourette's. And I like 3 dudes in a mushroom.
That was the first thing that came to my head for no reason.
Hey.
But it makes sense.
How it works, yeah.
3 dudes, so it encompasses like us. Then the mushroom, to me, has a gaming aspect because
that's actually hilarious. I was not really being serious.
Well, I mean, I wasn't being serious with my first name, but here we are. So
yeah, but your first name is like
if it works, it works.
So then let's just do it between those 3. 3 dudes in a mushroom. My Mom Has Tourette's and separation anxiety.
You know what that means? We have to call somebody who is not prepared to answer this and
like
have
phone a friend?
have them. Yeah, phone a friend, bro.
You guys think Joel would answer?
You want me to call him?
This is true. Do it. You won't. Put him on stream.
Tell Joel. Tell him our names and see what he thinks.
Do you want me to call him on Discord or call him on the phone?
Do you think he would answer? What would be more likely to Discord? He would be able to actually join the call for a second. It might be a little bit better audio or something. But
yeah, I don't know. Hold on.
Maybe the calling him via Discord would be so intriguing. Like, why is he calling me on Discord? He'd answer. Like or he could just as easily be like, "Nah, why this weirdo? Get up here."
All right. Looks like we're just gonna have to call him.
I mean, from last I heard, Mein Kampf is available.
Is it? Is that public domain? Oh, hold up.
Nothing like sprinkling a little. Nope.
I heard a little ring and.
You hear the phone ringing?
No. Oh, I heard a little bit.
There we go.
Now it's back or gone. I'm hearing.
That is not me this time.
Please leave your message for 7.
Well, I hear that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Who else?
Of course he
can you
didn't
call?
answer. Oh,
It's
Chris
Joel.
Wheatley.
All right, you call your brother then.
Yo, brother.
You want me
I've
to
got
call him?
someone to call
Yeah, I don't have
whenever
Chris's
we're
number.
done.
Yeah,
Whoever's got the
Chris
first
is going to
friend
pick
that
the funny
picks up.
thing no matter what.
Well, then that's the point, because it's what he's attracted to.
He's attracted to a lot of things, my friend.
Well, yeah, I say in that case
Call
we
Kevin.
get we
We
each
should call
we,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah, will Kevin
would be
answer?
nice.
He might answer me. Hold up. He might.
I say
Kevin,
we each get at least one person to answer to give their opinion.
This is hilarious. All right.
Yes.
Oh, you
I
calling
could call
someone
one of
right
my
now?
old bosses.
I'm
No.
calling Kevin.
Oh, you're calling
Yeah,
Kevin?
Yeah.
You bum.
If he doesn't answer
Nathan's
you,
pick.
I'm gonna call him.
And then I'll try. Why not?
Everybody has phones, but nobody uses them.
Right?
True.
I wonder if he still has your number.
Sleeping.
Sleeping at 8:30.
Oh my gosh. People.
I'm gonna
All
try
right.
calling him. Hold
You
up.
call him, and if not, we're gonna have to call Chris. Chris is gonna have to settle.
None of us have any like friends who care about us.
Exactly.
I'd have one.
Oh,
but,
Kevin
you
just
know.
texted me. Hold on. Hi, Josh. What's up? I'm actually at a conference, so I can't call at the moment.
That guy's the busiest person I've ever met, other than Joel. We did also just call the 2 busiest people we know. That's actually really funny.
I'm calling someone I know isn't busy.
Who you calling?
I'm calling Dustin. Oh, you know what? What time is it? I think he works 3 to 11. He might be working. I didn't even think of that. But
This
we're
whole
still trying.
episode is going to be us just calling our friends and realizing we don't have any friends.
Not been set up yet.
Oh, and his voicemail
Crap.
hasn't been set up. He's a bum.
Welcome to Phone a Friend.
Holy
Right.
crap.
I thought for sure he'd answer. Fair. As long as we get someone to answer.
On text, but not video.
Oh, then in that case, give him 0 connotation. Just tell him to pick between the 3 names.
Okay.
Who?
I'll text him.
Kevin? Oh,
Kevin.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see
All
what
right.
he
So
says.
three dudes and a mushroom. My mom.
I could call. I know someone who would answer. I could call Josh's mom.
My mom.
Yeah.
My mom.
Yeah. She doesn't have the greatest
Josh,
humor, so
I
she
heard-
probably really wouldn't understand.
Josh, I heard your mom has Tourette's.
She might.
I've also heard your mom has Tourette's, Nathan.
Yeah. She might.
All right. I sent them to Kevin.
Wow, no one's gonna ask if my mom has Tourette's. You guys are terrible friends.
It was Josh's. If Josh would have completed the triangle, but he didn't.
Yeah, but you didn't, Josh.
Does your mama have Tourette's? Because I was trying to text about a name. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Maybe she does. Maybe she
I don't
doesn't.
want to be in this Ponzi scheme.
I need to go see
No,
a
you
man.
know what?
How about a Tourette's syndrome?
It's definitely a
drum
hit or miss.
roll.
But I'm calling my
roll.
sister.
Drum
Oh,
roll.
I'm waiting.
Kevin's
Waiting.
texting.
Drumming.
Kevin's texting. Kevin's texting. We'll do it live. See.
And now he's
Can't
gone.
see it. Can't see it. It's not going to work.
Pick up my face, but you can't pick up my phone.
It's not made to pick up phones.
We got the immortal V technique going on with everybody.
All you have
now.
to
Oh,
do
there
to
it
hide
is.
yourself is wait. What? Wait, it works for me.
What's it say?
He's
Oh, he's
texting.
typing.
This looks
He's
like a floating
typing
phone.
with a guy making a
Did
Spock
you
handshake
tell him
going
it's a
on.
podcast name?
Nope,
He
no
knows.
connotation.
See, I thought that
Homie.
was with you.
Homie.
Oh. Maybe he did tell him then.
Oh, that's a lot to read backwards.
Gut
boy.
reaction is the second one.
I said, we need you to pick a podcast name. He said, I'm interested. What is it about? Options. Are you with Nathan? He said, shoot, all 3 of those are great. I think my gut reaction is the second one, but the first one is really close. If it's about which I think would be the most successful, I think the first. So his gut reaction for funny is My Mom Has Tourette's. But most successful name is he thinks 3 dudes in a mushroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
did not
Interesting.
come
Well, we got
prepared.
one person. We got one person, so that's good.
Nathan, Andrew, you call Joel.
I'm calling my sister. I haven't talked to her in a while. She'll pick up. Hopefully.
You're live on the 3 Dudes in a Mushroom podcast.
Hello.
Hey, we got someone to pick up. What's up, Brittany?
Brittany.
Not too much.
What are you doing right now?
Sitting in my living room.
Nice.
Tell her
Nice.
she's live on air. Get to the meat and potatoes.
He's not
Okay,
live.
well, Josh Maxwell says hi, first of all.
Hi.
I don't know if you remember Nathan, but I'm going to tell you that he said hi, but he
Hi.
Hello.
didn't. No, we're all just kind of video chatting right now, but I wanted to call you because A, I figured you'd pick up because you're a good sister. And B, we're thinking about starting a podcast and we're kind of coming up with the name of it. And I was like, why don't we get somebody who's like kind of neutral against everything? And I was like, yeah, let me call my sister. And if Rob's there, he can give his input too. But
Karen, will you pause this? Go ahead.
oh, here we go. We got 2 for the price of 1.
All right.
So we have 3. Essentially, this is going to be a podcast about somewhat playing video games, but it's really just kind of 3 old friends hanging out talking about stuff they like. But this is really great. I don't even remember the names that we were talking about.
Three
So
dudes and a
you
mushroom.
Okay, so we have the name is 3 Dudes and a Mushroom for the first
My
one.
mom has Tourette's.
My Mom Has Tourette's is the second one. Again, don't reveal which mom has Tourette's if you know, because that's part of the show. We don't want to know whose mom has Tourette's.
Separation anxiety.
And the last one is separation anxiety. So what stands out to you guys?
They're all my favorite.
They're all your favorites. Is there one above the rest? Do you find one funny? Do you find one intriguing? Like, what's going through your head?
Okay, well, I liked the first option you gave me, but I feel like the third, the last one, that's nail on the head right there.
Nice.
I like number 3 as well.
All right, so we got we got 2 for separation anxiety. I like it.
1 for 3 dudes and a mushroom.
Yep. Cool. All right, so we got some votes. That's cool.
All right, tell her you love her. Hang up.
All right. I do love you. I do have someone trying to call me on the other line, so I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, I love you. Stay up, bro.
All right, bye.
I love you too.
Who's calling you?
Dustin, what's up, homie?
Oh, here we go.
Working, buddy. What about you?
Oh, I forgot you were working. You do work 3 to 11. Well, since I have you, quick questions for quick answers. So we're trying to come up with the name of a podcast, Josh, Nathan, and I. We need some help debating and settling it. So, first one, this is going to be a gaming podcast, sort of, mainly just 3 dudes catching up and hanging out. First name that we came up with is going to be 3 Dudes and a Mushroom. Second name is My Mom Has Tourette's. And third name is Separation Anxiety. So of those 3, which one are you thinking?
Last one.
Last one, okay. Separation Anxiety. That seems to be popular. Nice.
All right.
Yeah, that one.
Hey, I got a phone call. Tell me we love him.
I won't bother you, so I appreciate
Thanks,
you
love
calling,
you.
Dustin.
Quick, buddy.
All right,
Hello.
bye.
Good. How are you? So we're doing
I
a
can't hear him.
podcast name,
I can't either.
and we're trying to get you to pick a name. And so I'm going to read you 3 names and tell me which one you like the most.
Okay.
All right. So it's 3 dudes and a
What
mushroom.
did he call?
My
Huh?
mom has Tourette's
I hope so.
and separation anxiety. Yes.
I think I personally like My Mom Has Tourette.
That's your
but I
sister,
think
Nathan.
That 3 Dudes and a Mushroom
Is it
is
really?
remarkable.
I think
Oh,
so.
hold on. Say that again, Tiffany.
Well,
Tiffany.
But because my sense of humor is usually off, I think that 3 Dudes and a Mushroom is probably more marketable.
Kevin said that too.
Okay. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Love you.
I'll hang up.
None of these people can hear me.
All right. So
We're
3
all
dudes
over
and
the
Tourette's?
board right now.
we are. We have 3 for 3 Dudes and a Mushroom, 2 for My Mom Has
No.
Tourette's, and 4 for Separation Anxiety.
We're counting wrong because I have 3 dudes and mushroom has 2. My mom has Tourette's has 2, and separation anxiety has 3.
Well, I'm counting correctly. You're counting.
All right. So 3 dudes and Tourette. 3 dudes and a mushroom.
3 Dudes and Tourette's.
3 Dudes in Tourette's, a
it.
separation
That's
anxiety
it.
podcast.
Well, there you go,
That's our name.
folks.
That's our name. That's beautiful.
3 dudes, Tourette's, and some separation anxiety.
Which one has Tourette's? Well, you'll certainly find out.
We'll find out. I mean,
Ah!
let's not make fun of Tourette's, fellas.
That was easy.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
find
one of
a
our
name.
moms has it, so
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I have a black friend.
just
Where do
one.
you find them?
Everywhere.
In the wild? Just like I find white people and every other
Did
kind
you
of people?
use a master ball?
Yeah, what Pokeball do you catch?
I only had one of those. I used it on Magikarp.
Ugh.
Smart man.
All right, so
Let's not show your mail.
Here's
I don't even...
the sign.
Everyone likes all of them. I was like, that's not my sister. You're
Yeah.
like, he called your sister, Nathan.
I definitely thought that was Sarah for a minute. I was like, wait a second.
Well, we technically don't have a tiebreaker because, I mean, separation anxiety was number 1. But we also did
That's
have 2
true.
people say that the mushroom one is more marketable or whatever. But I
3
don't know.
dudes and Tourette's doesn't have a podcast.
3 dudes and Tourette's.
3 Touretted fools.
Oh, imagine the political blowback once we get big. How dare you make some fun of someone with Tourette's? And then we could be like, bro, one of our moms has it. Shut up.
Exactly. No, that's what I was saying. Like, I can't be racist. I have a black friend. So
The
yeah,
only problem with that is bringing on our mothers onto this podcast. I feel like inevitably that's going to happen once, and then they will quickly find out which one of our mothers has Tourette's.
not if we edit out all the Tourette moments.
Oof. Depending on the
That's gonna be a lot
severity,
of
that could be
editing.
difficult.
So, Andrew, read me your numbers again. 3 dudes and a mushroom.
Had 3 votes. My Mom Has Tourette's had 2 votes in total, and then separation anxiety
had
had 4.
Well, I mean, the people picked, it's between 3 dudes and a mushroom and separation anxiety.
My sister said you should ask your cousin Melissa.
Do you want to call Alyssa and ask her between one of the 2, 3 dudes and a mushroom and separation anxiety?
No, I don't.
All right, so then let's vote on.
Oh,
Let's
man.
vote on 3 dudes and a mushroom
we've-
and separation anxiety.
We've had enough calling people. That's funny because I think, and maybe I'm reading into this wrong, but I really think the 3 of us were kind of excited about My Mom Has Tourette's,
We were,
and that's the one that lost.
which is really funny. Maybe it means we have bad taste.
It might, or it means everyone else is wrong. But
You know what? You might have a point. We might be the only enlightened ones.
true. I don't know either way.
This is hard. I'm not good at this. I'm like, this is what we're stuck with. Not stuck with. We like all of them, really, but like...
You know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to flip a coin.
I don't like that. I don't like leaving it to fate.
I mean, you already started leaving the fate to see who would introduce, so might as well roll with it for the show.
Yeah, we could also just go with the one with the least amount of votes because we're in such a standstill, but...
I think
Either
you
way,
really
we
just
have
want
to-
that. I think you really want the podcast to be called that.
Listen, I didn't at first, but the more you guys keep mentioning it, the more I want it.
Well, like Tiffany said, the most marketable one is going to be 3 dudes and a mushroom.
3 dudes in a shroom.
I wonder why that's more marketable than separation anxiety.
Well,
here?
some of
I mean,
them
I
also
can-
said separation anxiety was marketable as well.
Separation anxiety is
Everybody-
just like I think it's very poignant for us, but it's also very bland in a way as like a
Mhm.
title. It's
Yeah.
like it's just like the name of a syndrome, but both of the other ones are like something more unique. 3 dudes in a shroom. Right off the bat, you know it's like 3 dudes talking, and you don't know what the rest is about, but it's kind of like a funny title. And then obviously the other one is just whack job territory, which
That's
I love.
what I'm saying. That's why I like 3 dudes and a mushroom. It's very marketable at the same time, but also it fits us very well. It's
Well,
got
let's
that little
get-
bit of a gaming aspect.
Yeah, let's get
As
year
well.
two's opinion on it because I think we know where my stance is now, which is irrelevancy. So,
It's really hard because you know I'm freaking weird. You know I love weird off the wall humor. And I like I get the reasoning why 3 dudes in a mushroom and 3 dudes in a shroom would be would be good. I get why they think it's funny or they like it or whatever. But I came into this almost expecting us to like end up picking My Mom Has Tourette's.
Fair. What you thinking,
if
Josh?
I like Three Dudes and a Mushroom, but if we're gonna keep coming back to it, we might as well go with My Mom Has Tourette.
This has to be unanimous. We got to make a real decision. I'll be
It
happy.
really does.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how.
I want your honest
if this
opinion.
has longevity, the traction that we'll get with My Mom Has Tourette's. With like, if we're being completely honest here, with how sensitive people are nowadays, like Andrew was saying, it could go rough. You know, a lot of people. How could you do that? You know, it's a podcast about friends and games.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do. It's not serious. Like, how could you? But at the same time, within our sense of humor, it's funny. Like, to me, if we didn't have to worry about like the name growing and other people, and if it's attractive to other people, I would pick My Mom Has Tourette's because it's funny. It is funny because all of our moms have had funny stories throughout all of our lives with all of us. And then at the same time, the name I like the second most, which I think is the best one to push on down the line if this grows into something bigger, would be Three Dudes in a Mushroom or Three Dudes in a Shroom, because it references about us. It's intriguing because like Three Dudes in a Mushroom or Three Dudes in a Shroom, and then it tags into the gaming aspect. So
and I like the assonance there too. Dudes in a shroom, that sort of thing. Is that assonance? Yeah, I think so.
Abstinence.
My mind is like Swiss cheese, so
it's very holy.
Thank you.
The only downside I have with Three Dudes in a Shroom is it makes me think it's a podcast about drugs. Initially, like that's my first thought is like it's just three dudes. Like we get the three dudes down.
We're all just high.
And it seems like it's a conversation that three people are having just high as a kite. That's the first thing that comes to
Well, what if we do just Three Dudes in a Mushroom then, and not Shroom? Because if I get it, what you're saying, if we do
Shroom is has more of a drug connotation.
I'm gonna go straight to that one. If I see Three Dudes in a Shroom, be like, these guys are probably doing shrooms and making a podcast out of it. But Three Dudes in a Mushroom, and then our little icon or whatever we use, our logo could be a gaming mushroom or something, or like the ones floating behind your heads.
Now, are you good? Yeah. Now, is that going to run into like copyright territory again, or right infringement if we do the mushroom?
Nobody has anything with it.
Well, I mean, with the mushroom thing in general, because it definitely seems like you're trying to do the whole gamer mushroom thing.
I don't think that.
I don't think so.
That's
but
not a copyright. That's not really a copyright issue. Like that could go a million ways.
Isn't that one white and red though? Like we could do our own design.
Yeah, we'll have our own design. We're not gonna like make I'm not gonna throw a Mario mushroom as our logo, but
or have Mario running with it.
Fair, cool.
So
okay. Are we all happy though? Are we all happy if that's our decision?
I'm cool with it.
Because Andrew, I get that you're like kind of. I'm a little bit sad to not go with the other one, but I think Josh makes a valid point.
I think he makes a valid point too. The only thing I'm thinking about with My Mom Has Tourette's as a podcast name is the idea of no press is bad press. You know, if you have people talking about your name, you're going to have an equally amount of people who disdain it. You're going to have equal amount of people that love it. And then you're going to have probably equal amount of trolls who are going to just be like, oh, well, if you hate it, you're a bigot, or, you know, you're going to just have trolls in general. So I think the publicity of of that one can really help out if we want us to jump traction. I mean, there's also no rules saying that we can't change our name later down the line. I mean, I know there's podcasts that have done it, and you know, once we gain that traction, we want to be more relatable. I mean, there's a lot of bigger named, you know, like YouTube channels and stuff that do that too. So I'm down with whatever.
Let's just roll with it then. My Mom Has Tourette's. Let's just roll with it.
Whew, this was a roller coaster of a
Well,
deciding.
Andrew brought a good point.
Yeah.
No press is bad press.
Like, there's always. I feel like there would be somebody offended by 3 dudes in a shroom. Just saying, or 3 dudes in a mushroom. Like,
sure, yeah, I can see that.
There's a big difference.
Anything.
There's a big difference between the two, but like,
for sure,
you're right. Like, in the end, does it really matter if some people are offended and won't listen because we make the name is kind of a joke about Tourette's? I get that it's viewers. I get that it's a real serious problem that some people have. I fully respect that. We just love comedy. We have kind of an odd sense of humor, and so I'm down with it. We can go with it, but I just want to make sure everyone's actually happy.
Is that what we're picking?
Is that unanimous? That's the question.
Yes.
You sure, Josh?
If we're gonna go safe, we're gonna go separation anxiety.
That's safest, yeah.
True.
I mean, who's gonna? It's gonna be hard to find someone offended by that. If we want to go with something that fits our personality and our humor, we're gonna go with My Mom Has Tourette's. So I'm cool with either one.
And the question is, go ahead. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, if we're all willing to go on the adventure, the trip together, whether we go somewhere or we don't go somewhere, and that's the name we want to roll with, then I'm cool with it.
The Three Mothers podcast. That would confuse some folks.
Indeed. But it's 2023. Can they say anything?
I have 3 moms podcast.
I have 3 moms.
So what were you going to say while I was talking?
I'm glad you brought that up because I completely forgot. It was something along those lines. Yeah, so like even whether, I guess we have to decide whether we're going to do this, whether it takes off or not. We're assuming, which is good, for long-term vision, we're assuming that this is going to blow up at some point. On the chance that we're doing this for 5 years with 6 viewers total, is that something, does it matter if we have a good name or not? Is it a matter if that name is?
Yes, I think it matters, but I don't think any of those names will be a real hindrance if we're making quality content.
So I think let's just do My Mom Has Tourette's. That's what we all really want, but we're playing the same.
We were too ashamed to say it.
So the podcast name is My Mom Has Tourette's.
Well, I'm going to change it on the notes.
I'll change it in the Discord. So we talked about the name. Now we can talk about the rules and our goals. I already hinted at that a little bit. The goals are we're going to sit down weekly or however long we turn this into. We're going to pick a video game and we're going to play that video game through the entirety of the video game if it's like a story mode, chapter-based game, or if it's a multiplayer game, we're going to play it for a while. Could be a couple months, could be a month, we don't know. If we really like it, we'll stick with it for a while. There's a bunch of games out right now that have a lot of changing stuff. Every couple weeks, there's big updates. So there will be games out there that'll multiplayer that'll give us a lot to talk about constantly. We're going to dive into the worlds of those games, the Reddits, the Facebook pages of those games, the YouTube videos of those games, and discuss like things we've seen about it throughout the week. On top of that, we're going to come back and we're going to check on each other. We're going to talk about how our weeks were. We grew up together and then we all moved. All of us live in different parts of the state right now, in the country. Nathan being in Tennessee and me and Andrew in PA, opposite sides of PA. So this is going to be a good way for us to come back weekly and talk and see how everything's going and talk. So those are my goals for the show. That's kind of what I want this to be about and what I'm looking for. So I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that.
I think it's solid.
I agree. I think it'd be a good idea for all of us to, I guess, if we have our content figured out, so we know we're going to be, a gaming review sort of in personal context. So I think it's smart for us to find a general layout that we need to stick to with each episode. So, for example, if we're going to talk about our personal experiences, should we do it at the beginning of the podcast for a snippet of a few minutes? should we do the same thing and tack it on at the end? You know, could
Yeah.
we? Obviously, we can sprinkle out our own personal experiences while we're playing, because that's, I mean, to all of us, that's what games are. You know, it's a way for us to decompress, but it's also fun for us for a reason. You know, we do have some sort of ties to it, so you know, we're going to get personal talking about it regardless.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
we could start off, you know, the intro, who we are, and then just be like, hey Nathan, hey Andrew, how's your week? How's work? Anything new?
Hmm.
Talk about it however long we end up talking about it. And then we go, okay, what the game we played, how was that this week? What chapters are you on, or how was your multiplayer experience this week?
Hmm.
So I think we could just start off with like the personal business and then move into the business.
You know, Josh, just looking at you saying that, I have to tell you that you look like Tim the Tatman on steroids.
Oh, thanks.
It's just a great idea. Yeah.
How big is he? I want to know if I'm bigger than him or smaller than him.
I really don't know.
I just realized I can get really good lighting on my face by using my secondary monitor and just making it white.
Nice.
Let's discuss the playing of the games. How, if we get onto a game that one or more of us don't like, we can do it by story mode, by multiplayer, or in general. But what we want to do is we're going to pick a game and we're going to play that game out as long as we can. So if it's a multiplayer, we're going to play it out until there's no more content.
Mhm.
If it's a story mode game that we really like, we're going to play it out until the game is completed, till the main story chapters of that game are finished.
Hmm.
So we can either combine them or split them to where we can do something different for story mode games and we can do something different for multiplayer, or we keep a base rule set for both games. But if one or more person does not like the game, how long are we going to continue to play that till we drop that game and move on to the next one?
Are we doing the minimum? Do you want to do the minimum of 8 weeks, aka like minimum of 8 hours, or do we want to do more than that?
Well,
or less than that?
you could probably devote 2 hours a week minimum to a game. So I think we could move that to 4 weeks, because that would be 8 hours.
Do we want to set do we think we all could handle doing like 2 hours over the course of a week of one game that we're playing, and so that would give us more time overall dedicated to it as a minimum, and then we don't have to play it for as physically long, like actual long length of time, like full 8 weeks rather than 4 weeks. Like, do you think we should?
So-
I feel like wow, I feel like Tourette's, man. Stuck on it. I feel like 2 hours a week is rookie numbers. I think we could all do that pretty easily.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
All right, so
All right.
then let's look at it from this way. How many hours do we want to give each game before we decide to move on to something else?
At the very
I think-
minimum, 8, right?
Yeah, that's what I would think. I think
But
that's
it
fine.
depends on the game, because if listen, like story-based games are going to be different.
Mhm.
If you're playing missions, like if you straight up are playing the game like, oh, I'm playing through Halo 3 and like I don't like anything about it. I don't like shooters. I mean, there's like a point where there's a whole story to play out, and I feel like if we're playing a story-based game, we should probably finish it. But if we're playing a game that's like multiplayer, like, oh, we're all going to go play Overwatch, or oh, we're all going to play Minecraft, like if somebody really doesn't like it and really wants us to move on, we can make that decision together and play. Like, I feel like you can get that gist of it in 8 hours and not worry about it.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be easier to get the hours in a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So, like a multiplayer game, you could get 8 hours in 1 week. Like, if you have nothing to do one Saturday, you could play all 8 hours. But then that means at the end of the 8 hours, we're not going to be able to go past one show with that, because all 8 hours were done in 1 week, and you decided after that you don't like the game.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess I mean, like, whether we do weekly four podcast episodes about it, or bi-weekly 2, but essentially 4 weeks at a minimum of 2 hours a week would be my guess.
So,
Because it's pretty much like a game of a month. Like a game a month if we were to
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
on. Which I think
so
is
then
okay.
let's do it a month. let's play a game for 4 weeks, and at the end of that 4 weeks, if we don't like it, we move on.
And if we're all really enjoying it, we'll play it longer and we'll want to do
absolutely.
more.
We'll finish it, or
yeah.
And I think that really segues well into, we need to talk about how we're going to format the consistency of our podcast. Is this going to be weekly? You know, one thing I was bringing up before, I don't know too much about video editing. So like, in theory, I don't know if it's going to be, we can take this 2+ hours a week in researching our game topic. When we come to make a podcast for it, I don't understand how long it's going to take for editing time. I know I always hear stories of like, it took me 4 hours to make this 20-minute video. So like, for consistency purposes, is it going to be easier? And I guess this question's mainly addressed to you, Nathan. Is it going to be easier of a workload if we say, yeah, let's make a bi-weekly podcast, because that gives me enough time to go through and edit everything after that? Or is it, is a week doable? What do we have to do?
It's always going to be easier doing bi-weekly. That's just double the
Sure.
half the workload. But one, Josh probably knows a little bit more about editing than you do. We've already talked about it. He told me that he's willing to do it sometimes, and if I can show him some basics of like throwing in our graphics and stuff like that, throwing in like what we need, this, like, yeah, it can take 4, 8, 20 hours to do a 20-minute video if it's like something that's heavily edited. Podcasts are mostly taking out super long dead spaces, like super long dead area where we didn't say anything, possibly cutting very small segments down, or, I mean, essentially segments that we just decide we don't need to be in it, or if we just cut out a super long topic that we went on. Like, I'm probably going to cut out a little bit of our figuring out our name just to make it more cohesive, essentially. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to take like an insanely long time to edit. I think the harder part is going to be just actually having to listen through the whole thing because it's long. But the editing itself is not that difficult. It's mostly being like, yeah, that was boring. We don't really need that to be in the episode. But I figure really we're going to keep most of our content in.
Nathan.
What?
If you go to the Discord under links, I just posted a video that I made last night.
Oh, sweet. Do you have a channel for Zeldas too? I'm going to check them both.
What?
Nothing. I'm going.
But you can look at that and get a little hint of I bought some editing software last night. So
what did you buy?
Oh, I got Wondershare Filmora 12.
I don't know much about that. I mostly edit with Adobe Suite.
It was very easy, and it came with a bunch of like things to add in. So, I mean, is that something? Because I'll add that to the notes. Is that something we want to do then, as every week?
I'm fine with weekly, and I think it would give us more fresh, like, especially if the average one of us is doing like, or at least Josh, it'll be back up. The experience of you gaming with this game will be more fresh in your mind because you do it on the weekend. So if you were to bi-weekly podcast, then you would not have as much of a fresh take of your first experience with the game, because it'll have been a full week from then until we record the next podcast. So essentially, I think weekly is fine. If you are interested in helping, it will be helpful, and I will definitely appreciate any extra help like editing.
Oh yeah. And throughout the week is when I'll invest my time into the social media aspect of whatever game we're gonna play. So throughout the week, I'm not saying when we start off with this one, but like Tarkov. If we start off with Tarkov, throughout the week, I'll watch some YouTube videos from, some big streamers. I'll look at some of the news that's been released about the game this week, stuff like that. That way we'll have the talking points at the end of the week about, like, guess what's going on with this game that they just released this week? Or did you watch that video? And if I find a video interesting for that game, share it to each other. The Discord has the links and stuff, just like, hey, watch this. Watch what I just found about this game. You might like it. Some interesting things to talk about.
One thing I want to say is, no matter what, we're going to end up coming across games. Like, we're going to start off, like, our initial thought was to start off with games that one of us have played and like, so that we already have an idea of what we're doing, and then the other people will be kind of being brought into that. Yeah. So, like, something that I play already, or I have played already, I might choose. So at least one of us is kind of has like talking points while we're getting our like the gist of everything, and I'll have like a lot to talk about the game because I've already experienced it much more than you guys already have. So, eventually we're gonna find games that none of us like. I assume at some point we're gonna want to start branching out and like picking random games that are maybe well reviewed, but none of us have played and stuff like that. So that's gonna be a little bit of a change, but I think we'll already be in our rut, in our structure of the podcast creation, that it won't be as difficult as if we started out that way.
Well, and that's what I told Andrew. Like, I would like to sit down, whether it's on the podcast or not, and go through Steam or wherever we want, and just like, we know what kind of games we like, and just sit down together and go through their list of games and be like, listen, this one is interesting to all three of us. Let's try this one. But I mean, I'm still cool with, playing a game that one of us have all played. That way someone already has interest in it and knows a little bit about it, and then the other two come into it.
Should the channel name be My Mom Has Tourette's podcast, or just My Mom Has Tourette's? The YouTube channel.
Probably the podcast.
If it's, I think that'd be better.
That's what's going to appear at the top of it when people go to it. I would put podcast in the end.
Okay, and our handle will just be My Mom Has Tourette, so it'll be youtube.com/MyMomHasTourette's. But it'll be the name that shows up beside the channel under the videos is going to be My Mom Has Tourette's podcast. Great. I didn't need to be creating it while we're in the middle of this, but I figured I'd get that at least started here.
Well, that answers one of the questions from the notes too, is what was going to be our primary platform, I guess. It sounds like we're going with YouTube.
Yes, for the video side, but we're also going to be uploading separate audio as like to podcast platforms and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube is unfortunately still the only real way to make it. But we also want to talk about, there was something else. You guys, you probably have the notes still up.
Yeah, I still have them up.
We had some other talking points here. Yeah. Oh, we want to talk about what's the first game we're going to play.
Yes.
I don't know if you have something you want to do before then, or talk about before then, but
no. Hold on. We talked about how long we're going to play games we don't like, so we got that. My next talking point was to figure out what game we were going to start with.
Which I guess comes down to who's going to be starting it off in general. If we're going to go with the same format of, this is a game one of us has played a lot of.
I have Escape from Tarkov, PUBG, Deviant, RuneScape.
RuneScape would be a fun one.
Star Citizen, Scum. And then my Steam library, I have.
I could. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, my thought was that we would all present some games that we already had in mind, and we kind of can just figure out what we want to do first. Because I know you have a lot. I probably have a lot that I would say, but I have like 2 or 3 on my mind that would be fun to start with.
Well, say them. Well, let me. Come on, don't say them yet.
Oh, something I was going to say earlier that I lost because my brain is Swiss cheese is that I think that I lost it again. So, what were you going to say, Josh?
I was going to say. All right, go ahead and tell me your 2 or 3 games, or if you have more, whatever. Okay. Let's do 3 each.
3 each is fine, or like top 3. Yeah. Okay, well, one of them is, calling it a puzzle game is a disservice, but at heart, it is a puzzle game, but it is a full, like, 3D first-person game that it's called the Talos Principle. It's very unique, and the closest thing I can say, the closest thing I can equate it to is Portal, but it's nothing like Portal, but it's first-person puzzle, kind of, which Portal is. And I absolutely love it. I've played it through. It was a few years ago, like probably 5 or 6 years ago that I played it, but it's incredible. And I think that would be a really fun thing to play through. That was
Talos
that was
Principle,
1.
And then Talos Principle number 2.
I don't know if the sequel there's been talks about a sequel, but there is a DLC called Road to Gehenna, and that's essentially I haven't played that yet, but apparently it's harder. But
Well,
it's more of a DLC for the first game.
When you type in it says Talos Principle 2 on Steam. So I don't know if
Road to Oh. You guys are blowing my mind. I didn't know that they actually announced Talos 2. That's fantastic. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a story bit, but it's like it's not really story based, but there is a lot of story in it, and especially if you care about like seeking it out. And also, it's kind of like we can segment that in a way to where you say, okay, beat these levels or something like that sort of thing, and kind of figure out how we can. I would have a better idea of how to properly segment that, so that we would have an amount that we need to do each week. So that would be my number one choice. Well, I don't know about number one, but it's the first thing that came to my mind. Other than that, there's a survival game, which I know Josh has heard of. I don't know if Andrew has or not, but it's called Valheim, and it's incredible. You're basically a Viking in the afterlife, which is like you're just like on this like world where you spawn in naked or in a loincloth at least, and then you kind of just build up, go through the different biomes in the game, which all act as like a separate gate toward like the next set of progression with like tools and weapons and armor and stuff like that. And it's very fun. And it's really enjoyable time, but that would be a long time. If you guys all liked it, we'd be playing that for a decent bit of time because it's a little grindy, but it's super fun. My third option would be Minecraft. I don't have to elaborate on Minecraft.
I really don't know what we would talk about. And
Minecraft?
Yeah.
We could talk about Minecraft. I can talk about Minecraft all day. Andrew, do you have any games in mind?
Give me your
one game it'd be a little difficult to, I guess, continuate content on, but it'd definitely be a fun play. Not necessarily my first choice, but if it's on Steam, Scott Pilgrim versus the World is a game. It's a side scroller beat 'em up. Such a good time. Very well done. Has some RPG elements to it, but it's mainly just a side scroller kind of fighting game. Definitely fun to play with other people. So we could always get together and play that as well. I also, one of my favorite probably games at this point, I would think we'd have to do later because it's a big game. It's, story is going to be 100 hours ish, but it's going to be Persona 5 Royal. Such an amazing game. If you haven't played it, you need to. And if I had,
sorry,
good.
You have to play the Personas before number 5?
Not at all.
Okay,
not at all.
Cool.
I didn't. That's only one of the series I've played.
Cool. All right. Fine.
But let's see. I got to think of a third one. It was always a really good game. I feel like it's also old enough to. I'm sure you can find it for free somewhere. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. Not to be confused, there is an MMO called Star Wars: The Old Republic. I have not played that, but Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic is an excellent, excellent game, and it would provide plenty of content. Yes.
Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah. I played that 10 plus years ago, so it would be a wonderful replay. I don't remember much about it, but it was fantastic.
It was a good time.
Oh man, I'm old.
Me too.
You are. Yeah, you are.
All right, Josh, chill.
Sorry.
I forgive you this time. Don't misstep again, because we'll have to talk. We'll have some problems. All right.
I mean, Andrew's older than all of us.
Cut that out.
Oh,
Shut up. Cut that out. Cut that out.
Cut that.
Cut. All right. So my first game, of course, is going to be Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah, I know.
Another game I haven't played, but I played the release or the beta for it was New World. Oh. I think that's something that we could all spend time. It's still evolving. There's still a lot of stuff coming out for it. So that's a suggestion. And I'm kind of in between games. All all of my games are FPS. Pretty much. I don't play a whole lot of story mode stuff. So it's
That's
either
perfectly fine.
Deceive Inc. or PUBG.
Gotcha.
Deceive Inc. would be fun for all of us to play. That's a good choice.
All right. Well, how are we going to? Are we going to randomly choose, or we need to have some actual system that lets us like? We have to all obviously have like a number one pick. But
All right. So
how
what's
are
your
we going to
number one?
decide who goes first? Is it going to be random, or are we going to have a better system?
What's your number one pick?
I might say for now, like Talos Principle.
All right. So
It's really cool.
what's your second?
If I had a
Just the order you
second,
gave them?
I don't know, probably Valheim. I guess the order I gave you, yeah.
All right. And then Andrew.
You can use the same order for mine. Yeah, that's fine.
Because we can just straight up randomize it if you want for like our number one picks, and then whatever we pick or whatever it gets. But I don't know if we could have a better system.
I know in my head I was really just thinking Josh was going to go first. I thought, you know what, this was ultimately his idea. He
He
brought it
said
together.
that the other day, but at the same time, I feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad. Yeah, who cares?
This was your idea. You came to us. You were like, "Hey,
What's up?
if I pay you, will you be on this podcast with me?" And I said, "Sure. How much?" And you said, "A lot of money." That's why I'm here.
You guys are getting paid?
I mean, I obviously could go on forever.
You love. I know how much you love that game. I've never. I don't
Well,
know. I know
haven't
very little
played
about
it in
it.
5 months.
What game?
I
Okay, for the
just-
podcast, what game is this again?
Escape from Tarkov.
Thank you.
It is a game that's still in beta.
Yeah.
I've been playing it since 2018. They wiped the game a couple months ago, like 5 months ago, I think. And I kind of lost interest in it. And I got into another game. But like now, I've been like yesterday. I played it all day yesterday, and then before this podcast started, I played it. So kind of back into the things, but it's still like it's a game. It's in beta, so there's always something new happening. There's always something to talk about.
Yeah, I think we need to decide before the podcast in the future what game we're going to play, because we can all look into them. We can all look at the trailers, look at because if we're going to be spending money on the game, we have to have at least an idea of what we're getting. I think that if one of us is recommending a game, I think we're going to trust the others are going to trust that person, that they're not recommending something stupid, something they won't like. But it really just depends, because if Josh doesn't really play a lot of games that aren't like first-person shooters, then maybe he won't like some of the story-based games or something. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely something to talk about beforehand, and then kind of announce on the episode of the podcast before we move to the next game, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, we can. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, we'll definitely know ahead of time, like that we're not liking it. So if we at the end of that month, we'll be like, okay, you know, I didn't like the game. Here's why. It just wasn't my style or whatnot, or I didn't like this because it happened in the game. And then at that point, like we've already talked about it, so we'll know at that point. We just won't.
Yeah,
we'll know what we're going to be playing the next week, or we're going to have to decide this week what game we're going to play.
Tarkov. We're going with yours.
Are we?
Yeah. I mean, if we're all okay with it, I guess that is. I just assumed.
I'm okay with it. I know it's going to happen to all of us at some point, is we're going to pay for a game that we don't like. That's the point of playing games, is to find out what you like and don't like. But I just don't want you guys to be disappointed. But,
well, lower your expectations.
Yeah, we'll blame you.
Yeah, that's it.
So, the last thing I want to talk about.
We're going to Tarkov about.
Tarkov about. Which, actually, that's a good idea. If that's something you wanted to do, we could even change our channel view more towards we can pretty much play these games that are just free. You know, I don't care paying money for a game if I don't like it. I mean, it is what it is. It happens before. So, but if that's something you want to do, or if we come into a point where offline we could just be like, listen, like it's not a good time right now. I don't have the spare money or whatever. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it, but it's always an idea too.
Like I said, I'm more than willing to sit through the Steam lists, and like PUBG, yes, it is free. Go through the Steam list and see what all their games are.
Yeah.
Go through the free ones and see if there's any like story ones that we're interested in. But the last topic I want to talk about, and then it's hit all my markers, is the play-togethers. Originally, my idea for the play-togethers was we were going to play games for 8 weeks, and on the 9th week, we would do a play-together. Since we changed to 4 weeks, how do you guys want to do the play-togethers? Do you want to do it every 10th week instead of a podcast? We do a live play-together? Or what are your ideas?
I think that time frame is still good, even if we're kind of cutting in half the content time, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, we were thinking an hour a week originally for 8 weeks. And as Nathan brought up, 2 hours a week is probably easily feasible anyways. I think we could stick with that close to that formula of every 9th or 10th week. We could do that just because, again, it's still going to give us plenty of time to talk about a topic. We could even do it for more than 1 week at a time if we have to. But I don't know. I think because that works out to roughly quarterly, right?
No, it'd be less
quarterly.
than
No, quarterly would be 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be close to quarterly, but yeah, for a couple times a year.
8 weeks. I think the play-togethers are going to be a crucial part of this. I mean, people listen to the podcast to have something while they're cleaning or driving or exercising, whatever. But like the playthroughs will be our video content too, besides this.
Yeah.
So, and I think the playthroughs were really a really good idea for Nathan, and I'm excited about them. But when it comes to our playthroughs,
Yeah.
like if we did it quarterly, that's only 4 times a year that we do a playthrough, and I think that's too little.
Yeah. I mean, those would be really different, and I don't know, because so we're wanting to play the game on the playthroughs that we're playing at the time?
No.
Oh, you're just saying we're going to play random party games, like fun games, and just like make a real good video based off of them.
Yeah.
There's a million really good party games, like Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's it. My idea of the Let's Play was to get a random, like, free party game like Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Yeah.
Or some of the other games Andrew was saying, every 8th, 9th, or 10th week. And then we live stream it to, like, we make a Twitch for this podcast. And we live stream on the YouTube. And every 8th, 9th, or 10th week, we just play a random fun party game. Or it doesn't even have to be, like, we could do Overwatch or something like that. We play a game together live. Whatever game it is. It doesn't have to be the one we're talking about on the podcast. And we just sit down and we all 3 live stream it together, or however we get that set up that it shows all 3 of us playing together, and then go live with it.
Yeah, because I think that's going to just make such good content. I hate to admit it, but we're going to play something like Ultimate Chicken Horse or Overwatch 2 and
FPS chess.
FPS chess. I'm gonna rage. Like I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna rage. Things are gonna make me upset, and I'm gonna react to it. And as much as I hate to say it, it will be hilarious to other people, I'm sure. So like, in those moments for everybody is gonna. I feel like that's what encapsulates this random, like, let's play this game today together, because you have to look for. Why are people going to watch this? People are going to watch those specific videos because, they're going to realize I just want to be entertained and these guys are funny.
Yeah.
So here's a certain video that I know for a fact in this playlist. It's all about just these guys just playing together real quick for however long. I think it'll work that way. We definitely need to play FPS chess there. I feel like Nathan would be really good at it. Who cares? We're going to just play rounds against each other anyway.
Sounds like a good time.
We could have commentary for one of them.
I don't know anything about that, so I'm excited.
It's chess, but every time you if you move a pawn to take another pawn, you don't just take that pawn. The pawns have to fight, and each piece has like special weapons and abilities. And then you fight in this house and try. And if I were to take Andrew's piece, but he kills me, he takes my piece.
What?
So, crazy.
It's amazing.
That's goofy. That's goofy as heck. Well, Overwatch is one. Obviously, like there's RuneScape was a great call. I think RuneScape would be super fun to do because I actually really love that game. I just don't really play it. But I think that would be.
Start off with that. Would we all create brand new characters?
Yes. That would be my thought. But like that can be the character you use from then on. But if you already have an established character that you've played for a really long time, I wouldn't be against you using that character and just continuing to play the game during that time. Because like, why restart whenever you have something that you care about already? It just depends, really. I have like a character that I got to like 60 woodcutting and barely did anything else, so I'm happy to restart. But
I think if we do something like that, we should start from the beginning. Because like I can just make another account. Because like I got an account that's low level that I use to flip stuff, but it has 300 mil sitting on it.
Holy crap! All right.
So like I don't really know if we want to be like, well, today I made 100 mil. So,
I just flipped in RuneScape. What did you guys do? I feel like we're going off track for the scope of this episode. Do we want to call an end here? Because it's been over 2 hours, I think, now. So
I knew it was going to be a little.
This is what I was saying. I feel like these podcasts were going to be a lot longer than we intentioned.
Not on purpose, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really having some semblance of like structure here. We might want to give it a call here before we talk another hour. We can still chill and talk for a bit if you want, but
well, I mean,
we probably
get all the talking points, and I got a whole thing of notes. So.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so yeah, we can cut it off. That's fine.
All right. Well, for anybody who did show up and see this, or 10 years in the future, we've been doing this for 10 years, and you guys are looking back on this and saying, oh, this is how they started. Thank you for watching. We appreciate having you here. We're having a really good time just getting this all started and figured out and everything, and I'm hoping that this ends up being entertaining or informational about games to some people, and that you just tune in and hang out whenever you want to, and show up for our live streams, I guess, once in a while when we have all that. This is so early, but when we have all that cemented, you know, we'll talk about it in the future, but I think it's going to be good. Anybody else have anything else they want to say before we head off here?
I was Andrew, and one of our moms has Tourette's. Signing out. That's about all I got.
I was Nathan. Josh was too. Also, continue. Go.
I'm Nathan, signing out.
I'm Mom, and I have Tourette's, signing out. Have a good night, fellas.